Okay, looking at my translators, sound check. We're good. Thank you, translators, yet again. Um, and everybody behind the scenes, Sophie, thank you for all your help putting this together. This is one of my favorite programs YSI does. And so I'm really looking forward to talking about it. I think it's awesome. So it's called the Inner Kingdom, to the Inner Kingdom. And we'll talk about the details of that today and the history of why these teachings are so cool. Where do they fit in the life of Geshe Michael? And what's in the teachings, and how will they help us? So that's the plan. Hey, Hero, long time no see, my friend. Good to see you. So that's our plan. Okay. Hopefully by the end, everyone is like sufficiently inspired to register for the course, because I don't know. I just think these are teachings Geshe Michael gave during his 3 retreat, and they're amazing. When I started studying them again, it was like this treasure chest of things that I had forgotten about for a long time. You know, like when you're looking through your old pictures or something, or like you go through, a box that you'd forgotten about, of all these things that were so cool and so precious. Um, that's what these teachings were like for me, because Geshe Michael never retaught them. He reteaches almost everything that he does, but he never retaught them. So each year, YSI will be reviving one of these teachings that Geshe Michael gave in his 3-year retreat. And these are the first, called Inner Kingdom. So we had part 1 of this talk. Part 1 was where I invited 12 guest speakers, and we had a discussion about how these teachings changed their life, or what it was like to be there. So we had Jasmine Yao was there. We had Ben Kramer, Venerable Jigme, John and Connie. And the insights were incredible. It was so fun for me to have discussions with those great teachers. And so if you register for this part coming up, you get access to all of that. 12 10-minute teachings from amazing teachers, 20-minute teachings. And it's their insights from the Inner Kingdom. Part 2 is September 7 and 8. And so the first part was more discussions about what those teachers learned, how they applied the wisdom. And in part 2, we're going to go line by line through the whole poem. We'll spend more time with the meditations. And we'll go over Geshe Michael's full explanation of his own poem. That's our plan. Translators, am I going slow enough? Oh, good. Cool. Thumbs up. Um, my goal isn't to go through too much of the actual teaching today. Instead, I want you to get a feel for the history of them, like, because they're kind of important in the flow of Geshe Michael's life. These teachings are from 2001, and it really marks a transition in the life of Geshe Michael, where he had just finished the foundation courses. Right? Foundation courses happened all through the 90s. And then he went into 3-year retreat. And when he came out of 3-year retreat, he started teaching the Diamond Way. So these are what bridges the foundation and the Diamond Way. And it's this time of transition in Geshe Michael where he's going from a scholar really to like a yogi, like a meditator. He grew his hair long, which is traditional in 3-year retreat. And he had a vision of how yoga was going to change the world. And so he started translating the Yoga Sutra, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, in his retreat. And after retreat, he did a 1-year tour teaching yoga, heart yoga. So it's kind of hard to imagine now. Geshe Michael teaches so many things: mixed nuts, DCI, YSI. But for a while, it was mostly yoga. I mean, like for a year, he pretty much exclusively was teaching yoga. It's pretty much the only thing he translated in his 3-year retreat. And these teachings are reflective of where he was at in his life. And it's the first time he started teaching the connection between prana in the body and our thoughts. So it's this very cool time where we're transitioning from foundation courses to Diamond Way courses. And we can see in the quiet retreat teachings. In his 3-year, he didn't know I could speak Chinese in a female voice, did you? It's pretty cool, right? Uh, it was the first time you see like Diamond Way teachings starting to infiltrate his open teaching. So it's a very powerful time in the life history of Geshe Michael. Like, it's when you look at it now, it's hard to catch how important yoga was in his teachings at that time. Okay, so what were these teachings like? There was no internet. There's no social media. There's no smartphones. So there's very few photos of 3-year retreat. So it was kind of, no one knew what to expect. I think we have a few pictures from it on the PPT. So Geshe Michael's in 3-year retreat with 5 other retreaters. And no one was allowed into that area. only 6 or 7 caretakers. Otherwise, you couldn't go on the land. And then they had 2 times a year, they had these quiet retreat teachings. And Inner Kingdom was the first. So, we were told to go meet in this town at this grocery store, at 10 in the morning. And we're given a map, like a little piece of paper with directions. And, go on Highway 87, go past mile marker 110, look for a gate, go through the gate. And it's the middle of nowhere. And then you go through a gate, and it's, I don't know, like a half hour on a dirt road. And you have to open a gate, drive through, get out, close the gate, go to the next gate, stop, open the gate, drive through, get out, close the gate. To keep all the cows on the land, it was a ranch land. And it was my first time in the desert. It's quiet. There's just stars everywhere. The days are hot, and then the nights are really cold. And there's a lot of wind, and there's a lot of poisonous snakes and sharp cactuses, and everything is extreme. Can we show a few of the PPT pictures? There's like 2 pictures. There's so few pictures of this time because no one had a smartphone. So there was 100 of us maybe. And we're just sitting on tarps in the desert. And when Geshe arrived, we saw he came out with a blindfold because he wanted to protect his mind from seeing who was there or who was not there. And he taught for hours, no notes, no computer, completely from memory. And it was amazing to see, the clarity of his mind, the clarity of the mind. Why the desert? Good question. The desert is still. The desert is quiet. The desert is perfect for 3-year retreat. Perfect. It's huge. And so you can be very isolated. And the land is cheap. So you can be on a big piece of land and not spend a lot of money. And it's just totally isolated from cell signals and sound and people, emotion. So the when you look for places to do retreat, it's really perfect. And for us, the desert feels ancient. And so Geshe Michael came out, and it was amazing. We got pieces of paper for the reading, and it was written in his own handwriting, his printing is very beautiful. It's very, I actually know what Jimi Hendrix's printing looks like. They're very similar. I was always curious about that. Who was copying who? But it was a poem. And so it was really the first time he didn't teach from scripture. No Jetson Kappa, no Choling Lam, just his very heartfelt poetry. And so it felt very personal. It was like his own thoughts from deep retreat. And like I said, he never retaught the teachings. And I always thought that was strange. Like, why not? They're amazing. And then I spoke during my own 3-year retreat, and I could never give those teachings again. Because when you're in retreat, your mind is in such a different place that I could never be at that same place where I created those teachings to teach them again. It'd be impossible. And so I think it's the same. He never gave these teachings again because you could never recreate the place that they were created in. You can't teach 3-year retreat teachings outside a 3-year retreat. I just don't think it's possible. So he never taught them again. And so I feel like it's such an amazing opportunity to revisit this moment in time, this moment in transition from where we're starting to enter into the Diamond Way teachings of Geshe Michael. And you can see it, Diamond Way teachings all through the Inner Kingdom teachings. So let's look at some of the content. Let's look at the previous slide. This is the opening verse. And I'd like to give our translators a moment to read it. It's like a race to see which language is fastest. Okay, cool. Probably Team Spanish finished first. Rivas, did you win? All right. His main thing is there'll be some of us standing here who shall not taste of death till they see the kingdom. In Sanskrit, it's Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti. Very, very famous in Sanskrit. And Mukti means freedom. It means like nirvana, freedom from negative thoughts, freedom from negative emotions. So it's a mental state. It's freedom from pride, jealousy, anger, ignorance. Jivan is a person. So we can all be Jivan Mukti. Okay, that's the goal. our goal is Jivan Mukti. And this verse is, we can do that before we die. So already we're kind of getting into some Diamond Way philosophy. In his very first line, it's cool. So how do we become Jivan Mukti? It's amazing. The whole poem, the whole teaching is about getting to that place. Jivan Mukti. Total freedom from any sort of negative thought. And he said, to get to that place, we first go to an outer kingdom and then an inner kingdom. And he said, getting these instructions clear is hard. To get these instructions clearly is very rare because so few people have ever gotten there. It's hard to find somebody that will clearly explain it. And then he said, and I want to clearly explain it to you. And that's the topic of our journey to this inner kingdom. He's like, I want to clearly explain how to get to the inner kingdom and what that's like. And so, what are some of the topics that he'll cover in our journey to the inner kingdom? What are some of the main ideas? What's our clear instructions on how to get to the inner kingdom? The first was, I think it's the first time we've taught Sam Jukpa Jikpa, that there's a connection between our thoughts and our prana, and how that connection influences both our inner world and our outer world. And it's it's like the birth of all YSI philosophy. That connection between the physical body and the mind and our reality. And it's cool. These are the first time Geshe teaches it publicly. What else is in this? It's also he doesn't say, it's also the first time he outlines the two main divisions of the Diamond Way teachings. Diamond Way teachings are divided into two. And this is the first time he teaches that. And those relate to the outer kingdom and the inner kingdom. So to get to the outer kingdom, the first thing he talks about is recognizing how many people have helped us in our life. That's step one. And it's the method to having compassion and love for all beings. So the first day of the meditation, recognize how many people have helped us. Make a list, everyone who's helped us. See that we're just passed on from person to person to person who's taking care of us. And I remember so clearly when he taught this, he said, the more people help you, the less we remember it, the less we appreciate it. Like if someone cooks me a meal, someone goes out of their way and, buys a bunch of food, takes all the time to prepare it, cooks up a nice meal, invites me over. I'm like, oh my God, that is so nice. And I'd be so appreciative. And I would probably, bring flowers to the house or, try to like, put on some nice clothes, maybe. And, but I'd be really appreciative. And if someone did that, 7,000 times, uh, I'd probably complain. I'd be more likely to complain. And right now I'm visiting my parents, and this happened last night. It's like my mom cooked me meal number 7,000, and my dad was like, "How did you like it?" It's like, "Yeah, it was all right." you know, okay, it wasn't. It's nothing special. It was all right, and just like total lack of appreciation because she's done it 7,000 times, 10,000 times. So suddenly I have the liberty and audacity to complain. Someone's been so nice to me over a long period of time. It's invisible, right? The kindness of my mom has become invisible to me. And so, you know, we can never get to the outer kingdom like that. The first step is the outer kingdom is seeing teachers everywhere. That's the outer kingdom. We could never get there if we can't even appreciate the kindness of the people around us. And we'll never have it. So the step one was just notice the kindness of how we've been taken care of from person to person to person our whole life. Geshe Michael talked about it's even true with spiritual teachers. If we get a few classes by a teacher with a big name, then we make offerings. But if someone teaches 5 times a week, it's kind of like, oh my God, another class? Like, can't we just take a break? You know, we just had class. I got to go to class again. So, first thing is if we're going to see teachers everywhere, we have to just appreciate the way we're constantly being taken care of. The second thing we need is some renunciation. Remember all the things that are going good in our life, and all the people that love us, all the resources we have available to, all of the material resources, the, the prosperity we enjoy. There are half the world. So what's that? 4 billion people? Hope that's right. Live on $5 a day. $5 a day. It's more like $6 a day. I looked it up. Okay. You are not one of them. Right? We might not be rich, but put it in perspective. Very prosperous life, very well educated, very rich in the teachings, place that we can study, teachers, translators, doing so much work to bring the teachings into many different languages around the world, and to have being a little grateful for this incredible circumstance, and to make a resolution not to waste this opportunity. Right? Like, these kinds of advantages aren't forever. They could go at any time. I think we're all very used to Geshe Michael teaching. I think last year he taught like 500 times in a year. It's unreal. Not this year. He won't teach that much this year. And we just kind of can get lulled. We can get a little lazy thinking that it'll just last forever. The present circumstance will last forever. But the window of opportunity is open right now. But it could close at any time. Anytime. Our capacity to study anything, that opportunity could close at any time. So we have so many advantages, so many conditions that are amazing. And we have a tendency, or I have a tendency, to think that's just going to be the way it is. Because that's the way it's been for 25 years. And it's a spiritual blindness. So we have to reach the outer kingdom, we have to have a strong resolution to do our best and to take advantage of this opportunity, and to stop whining about the few little things in life that are going wrong. You know, I've been making a list recently of the things that I complain about, and it's ridiculous. My last one complaint was I have to cook 3 meals a day. It's such a hassle that I have to cook 3 times a day. What a drag. The other day I've got no food in my house. There's nothing to eat. What was my complaint? My house is filled with food. Right? I open my cupboard and like tea falls out of my cupboard because there's just so much tea. Like cram my food back in my cupboard. But there's no food, which means there's nothing I can just grab and immediately put in my face. That's my definition of there's nothing to eat. And so I've just been catching myself and making a list of the frustrated that I have too many clothes because they don't fit in my drawers anymore. And I complain about having too many clothes. You know, it's embarrassing. So renunciation is like, stop complaining about the little things that are going wrong in life. Concentrate on the many advantages and make the best of this opportunity. Okay. And that ties into meditation. To get to the outer heaven, we need meditation. And so he gets into a big list of things that prevent meditation. First one is possessions. The more we have it, the worse it is. And when you're in 3-year retreat, you can see how healthy simplicity is for the mind. For 3 years, I had a yoga mat, a meditation cushion, one chair, like a few plates, a few dishes, a few clothes, and it was everything I needed. And you can see that there's times when the mind just, well, I just want something, right? I don't need anything. But I'm after months of retreat, I just want to go shop. I just want to buy something. I just want to like add something to the cart. Not because I need it. It's just boredom. And then we just fill our house and fill our existence with things that destroy our simplicity. And when things destroy our simplicity, they destroy our meditation. And if we let that happen, we can't get to the outer kingdom. Other things he talked about that destroy our meditation. It was really funny. This is 2000 and the year 2001. It's like newspapers, television, the big desktop computer, like cell phones weren't on the list, smartphone not on the list, iPhone not on the list. But now that's what it is, right? It's technology. And those things prevent us from the outer kingdom. Mm. So then what's the inner kingdom? He says we're a shell. We're in a shell like a bird, and we're trying to break out of that shell into a, a new birth into something much greater. He's like, we've only seen the world in black and white. When we see the inner kingdom, it's like seeing in color for the first time. And how do you explain color to someone that's only seen black and white? And what's that world of color look like? It's where we truly see every single being as someone that we need to take care of. And that's our only purpose in life. Just looking at the faces on the screen and every face we see, seeing someone to take care of, and knowing that that's our only purpose in life. And until we realize that, until we act on that, we will never be truly happy. That's the inner kingdom. So it's a very radical, powerful worldview. And the quiet retreat teachings, that's how Geshe Michael teaches. It's like these very profound, radical ideas. And he teaches it in such a approachable way, like a way that is poetic, simple, achievable. And that's the vision for the inner kingdom, like acting as a protector of all beings. And that and that's what we're meant to do with our life. And the very end, he teaches a oh, do we have, let's look at the last slide. I just found this picture. Next one. At the end of the course class, on the last day, Geshe Michael leads, it's called Zokram. He leads a Zokram meditation, inner body meditation, which is a tradition of the Diamond Way teachings. And he had this sword that he had brought from Ireland, and he passed it around the audience, this big sword. And here's Geshe Michael at Diamond Mountain just after 3 retreat with one of his teachers named Geshe Lotar with that sword. And the last meditation is this, it's this visualization in the inner body where you're visualizing a sword. And the tip of that sword is at the heart chakra. It's one of the most profound meditations I think Geshe Michael has ever led. So that's the inner kingdom teaching, and he uses that meditation to talk about when we get to the inner kingdom, how our body changes into a body of light. Well, that's cool. Okay, so we have 1 minute left. I successfully avoided all questions, which is always my intent. So if you do have questions, you can reach out to YSI. Better yet, join the chorus where all questions will be answered. And they are on September 7th and 8th. Let me double check. Yeah. September 7th and 8th. And then we'll go line by line through the whole poem. And you'll have access to the previous part where we had 12 amazing interviews with 12 amazing teachers. Okay. So that's the inner kingdom. I know there's a lot of teachings. I know that there's a lot of teachings people can go to. I think these ones give a really powerful, fresh insight into how to get to this outer and inner kingdom in a way that is really rare. And I'm really happy to be part of Team YSI to revive these teachings. And I really hope that, as we revive them, we can learn them and teach them to other people. They're like this, I don't know, it's like this precious little jewels that we should be sharing with the world. And they've just been kind of sitting in the attic collecting dust. It's time for us to dust off these teachings and get them back out into the world. So we'll start doing that in September. Okay. Thank you, everyone that's translating. And thank you, everyone that joined in. If spread the word. If there's someone that you know of that you think can benefit from these teachings, please invite them. And I look forward to seeing some of you very soon. Everybody, when our paths cross again, I look forward to that. Thanks for sharing time this morning.